Hi, my name is Reese. I want to show you the EcoFlow River 2 in case you're interested in getting one yourself. I want to go over all of its features, benefits, pros and cons, let you know what I think about it, and hopefully answer any questions you might have about the River 2. Now, full disclosure, they did send this to me for review, but everything in this video is my own opinion. All right, so if you're new to this type of thing, what this is a portable AC and DC power source. It is a battery inside of here, and it is a small form factor. It is an upgrade from the original EcoFlow River. The River 2 on my scale weighed in at 7 pounds, 11 ounces. So the River 2 is very portable, and one of the things that they changed on the form factor is that they moved the handle from the top to the back here. And you can see it's pretty easy to carry with the handle right here, and as I was using it outside, I found it pretty easy to carry around with the handle that way. And one of the benefits of not having the handle on the top is when it's sitting down like this, you can place things on top of here. In terms of ports on the River 2, all of the output ports are on the front, with the exception of the USB port that has a special purpose. I'll go over that. There is nothing on the sides. And on the back is where the charging happens. This is the AC input port, and this is the DC input port over here. And on the bottom, you have these 4 rubberized feet. So one of the big upgrades on the River 2 is the battery chemistry inside of here. It uses lithium iron phosphate batteries, which means not only are they safe, they're gonna last a really, really long time. The batteries in here are rated for 3,000 cycles down to 80% of the original capacity. So what that means is that a cycle is, if you start at 100%, drain this all the way down to 0 and then charge it back up to 100%, that's one cycle. So you can do that 3,000 times before the original capacity on this battery will diminish down to about 80%. So what that means is that if you put a full cycle on this thing every single day, you're looking at 9 to 10 years before you reach that 80% capacity. And the total capacity of the batteries on here is 256 watt hours. Now, because this is a battery unit, you do need to charge it up, and there are 4 different ways to charge up the River 2. So the first way to charge is actually an upgrade on the River 2, which is through this USB-C port right here. This USB-C port can output 60 watts. It can also input 60 watts of power, so that makes it a convenient way to charge up this unit. A second way to charge the River 2 is through the included AC wall cable, and again, that plugs in down here. And what's really cool about this is that you can fast charge this thing from 0 to 100% in only an hour. The third way to charge the River 2 is my personal favorite with this connector back here. You can plug it into any solar panels, and it can charge up to a maximum of 110 watts. So when I took it out with my 100-watt solar panel, I was indeed able to get 110 watts out of my 100-watt solar panel because it was so sunny. And at full sunlight at 110 watts, you're looking at 3 to 4 hours or so. So that's great to just get some free energy and put it inside of these batteries. And the fourth way is to charge with this 12-volt DC cable. This is included with the River 2. This plugs into your car 12-volt port, and then this connector back here plugs into the back of the River 2 over here. On the front of the River 2, you have a number of input outputs and a screen. You have a 12-volt car output, and notice there's no dust cover on this version. It's controlled by this on-off switch right here. And you have 2 USB-A ports and a USB-C port. This can do 60 watts output. And over here you have 2 120-volt AC outputs. These combined can do a continuous output power of 300 watts with a 600-watt surge, or if you turn on the X-Boost feature in the app, these can do 600 watts, and that works by lowering the voltage, increasing the amperage to get that extra power. And you have on-off control of these outlets with this button down here. The main on-off button is right here, and when you press that on, the screen will come on, and this is similar to many other EcoFlow devices screens. It shows you the time to empty or the time to charge it all the way up to full, the state of charge on the battery. You can see it's 95% right now, and that it shows the output wattages and input wattages in real time. And you can do output and input at the same time on the River 2. Another major update to the River 2 is that it can talk to the EcoFlow app with Bluetooth and Wi-Fi, and setting up Bluetooth is super easy. You just open up the app and turn on the device, and it recognizes it immediately. So what's great about the wireless options on the River 2 is that you can talk from the app to the device with Bluetooth and Wi-Fi. So for example, if you don't have Wi-Fi, you can still use the app to directly talk to the device, or if you do have Wi-Fi, you can remotely monitor this thing from the other side of the world with the app. Once you're in the app, you're going to be able to see everything that's on the River 2 screen, plus a whole lot more. For example, it is on the input selection right now, so I can see what is coming in and charging up to the device for these 3 categories here. At the top, it's going to keep this, the time to empty. And then if I click on the output tab, I have, not only can I see what the output values are, I can also toggle on and off these ports. So for example here, I could turn on the 12-volt port right here. And if you can see this light turned on, and if I push the button right here, that light goes off. So that's really neat that you can remotely control these ports right from the app. On this screen right here are all the settings. I can change the name of the device. I can change the AC charging speed with this slider right here, all the way down to 50 watts. I can also change the car input, this charging DC mode. Here is where you can turn X Boost on and off, and a number of other things that you can change here. And then down here is where you can check the firmware, and just with a click of a button, you can see here, I even need to get a new version. And so it's easy to just go down here and push upgrade, and it's immediately going to download it and upgrade the River 2. So this is interesting. I want to test the AC inverter switchover time, but look at this. It is inputting 400 watts, which is over what it's supposed to be able to. So I have it plugged into the wall, I have the AC inverter turned on, and this is running this laptop right here. So what it's doing is that it's charging the batteries at its 360 watt rate, and then taking that extra from the wall, passing it through to here over to run the laptop. But one test that I wanted to run, or wanted to do, was to pull off the plug and see if it can switch over fast enough to keep the laptop running. Now there is no battery in this laptop, so let's see if it keeps running after I pull the plug. So you can see that went to 0, and the laptop is still running. Next, I want to test the efficiency of the AC inverter, starting at 100% down to 0% with about a 130 watt load. So the battery just went to 0% and it shut off the inverter. And so let's see what our AC efficiency is. Okay, so in this test, I got 0.2 kilowatt hours out of the battery. I don't have a third decimal point on this meter, so I usually assume about a 5 since I don't know what it is. The last time I did this test, I got a 0.21 kilowatt hours out of the battery. So it's roughly in that range. And this was over a test of 97 minutes. Okay, so if I take 0.205, which is my estimate, divided by 256, which is in kilowatt hours, that's the capacity of the battery, that gives me an AC inverter efficiency of about 80%. And remember, that's running at over 97 minutes. And so I did another test where I got a little bit of a better efficiency, closer to 83% on a quicker test. So it's about that range. So next, let's test the claim of 0 to 100% charging in an hour. I have it hooked up to the wall AC, and at maximum wattage input, let's see if it takes that hour. So while this is going, I also want to give you a sense of the fan noise, since this is about as loud as it's going to get with maximum input. Now I have my nice microphone here, and you can hear what it sounds like. Now I'm in a quiet room, and personally this fan noise seems pretty low and acceptable for the power that's going into this unit. So things are moving along here, and you can see it's gotten up to 78% charge from 0 in about 40 minutes. Okay, I'm standing here right now and it hit 100%. The fan shut off and you could see 1 hour. So it did take 1 hour to go from 0 to 100% on the EcoFlow River 2. So let me share some pros and cons as I see it with the River 2. So first, pros. I like the new design. I personally like the handle in the back. I have many power stations and reviewed many power stations, and the problem with the handle on the top is you can't stack anything on top of it. So I do like the fact that it has this flat top that you can put things on. Now many power stations use this area as a wireless charging pad, so that's perhaps a con. I don't think that's a big con because I don't really use the wireless charging on many of them anyway, but that is something to note. There is no wireless charging up here. But in terms of other pros, this is 7 pounds, very portable, very easy to take with you, and you have AC and DC outlets in this little package, 256 watt hours to take wherever you want to go. It's got the lithium iron phosphate battery chemistry, so it's going to last a really long time. I like that you can charge it in 4 different ways: the solar panel, the USB-C here in the front, the wall AC, and through your car 12-volt port. And I also really like that you can use the app with Bluetooth and Wi-Fi to communicate with the River 2. I think another pro is the fan noise. That is a personal opinion of mine. Fan noise is always a subjective issue, but I do think it's pretty quiet. All right, so let's go over some of the cons and then I'll go over some use case scenarios of this. The first one I can think of is that you can't like stack your charging methods. So you can't do like the 360 watts of input on AC and then add another 60 on top of that with the USB-C. So you can't do those at the same time. So you kind of have to pick which of those 4 charging methods you're going to use. Now another con is not necessarily a con of the River 2, but of units that are this size. So this is a smaller type unit and it's not necessarily made for powering your house during a blackout. So for example, if you did get this and there was a blackout at your house, this inverter here is not going to be able to run your full-size refrigerator. The power demand is just too high for what this inverter can handle. It wouldn't be able to run a coffee maker, for example. So again, that's a con of anything that's sort of this size and smaller. But on the positive side of all of that, the portability of this is going to allow you to throw this in the car, take it camping, put it on your desk and run devices or charge your phone. And one thing that I like to do with these kind of devices that have the lithium iron phosphate batteries, or I have a solar panel, just put it outside. I just pick this up, carry it, have it sit in the sun for a few hours. It charges up to 100%. And then I put it on my desk and I can power my laptop and my phones. And essentially I can make all of my devices basically solar powered. So I think that's pretty cool. And maybe another smaller con here is that this power delivery port in the front, this USB-C, is rated at 60 watts, whereas some in this range are rated at 100 watts. Post any questions or comments you have about the River 2 down below, and hopefully this has been helpful.